Y'all haven't gotten rain, right? Little bit?
Little bit, not much.
Okay, sorry. Well, that's exactly what it started off. So, really excited to be here again, and the program is very well thought of. The only thing is TCEQ limits the number of times that we can come here for our city. So I would say that Ryan and Stephen Miller, our AgriLife Extension agent here, and Annette, there in the Extension office, has done a really good job of getting everything advertised. For that, we say thank you. And guys, I work for the greatest people in the world. You know who they are? Texans. Okay? Each day, we've got 1,400 newbies coming into our great state. And if you don't think that's putting the strain on everything, because all living things need water, okay? Drinking, yep, bathing, at least every Saturday night, okay? And then when it's 110 outside, I'm thinking that we like to kind of kick back and enjoy our water places. So we all need water. But as we look at the world situation, there's many places around the world that don't have good drinking water, okay? And I'm not saying not to use the water here in Boerne, Kendall County as natural resource. Just use it wisely. Because when we start looking at how we're using water currently, 60 to 70% on an average across our state, 60 to 70% across the state. I was wondering if he was walking out or, you know, was bad or, you know, I've not had anybody walk up behind me. So, we need to do the very best that we can to be the best stewards of that water. And that's what this is trying to say. The big thing is the 14% leaks. In the year, so the Texas Water Development Board looks out into the future and says, based on the way we're currently using water, this is what it's going to look like in 2070. Okay? 2070, I'm going to be older than I am right now. Okay? And, wow. So, they say that we're going to be 18% short of water as we're currently using. And where is that going to be the worst? Along the I-35 corridor, okay? And the I-10 corridor, probably. Because they're coming to visit with you guys and move in and live with you guys. So, what is rainwater harvesting? Capture, diversion, storage of rainwater for use in landscaping, rangeland, and other purposes. Yes, you can use rainwater as potable water, but today's visit is going to be targeted toward primarily landscaping. Okay, we'll touch on potable water and then home use. Wide variety of how we can capture this, okay? The one on the right, obviously, those 3,000 gallon tanks are going to hold substantial 3,000 gallon tanks. One on the left, we need it to fill up several times. But what if we connected 10 of those? Then we're talking about more than what just one of them. here's kind of an overview of what we're going to talk about today. And it's not a new idea. Oldest daughter was raised as 4-H kid right here in Texas. And thank all of you that support our 4-H and our FFA. Dad was a county extension agent and said, just get kids involved, okay? Because that's what's important. All many good programs. She ended up in DC and said, Dad, with your love of rainwater harvesting, you've got to come visit Monticello. And so Jefferson was very innovative, and he installed 4 of these wooden cisterns there on the property. They said when we toured that it was usually 28 people living in the house. I always thought as a kid looking at that nickel that was a big house, but it's really not, okay? Anyway, the lattice work on either side of the house contains the conveyance, and then those cisterns are kind of out on the corner. And my point is that it's been around for a long time. And I challenge you guys, okay? Because this water situation is going to continue to be really serious. And when we have a problem in the United States, where do they call? Okay? Smiths take great pride that we had an engineer that's part of that team that put a man on the moon. Houston, we've got a problem. Texas, we've got a problem. Okay? They call Texans, because that's who we are, by golly. So, thank you. Advantages of rainwater harvesting. Surface conservation practice can reduce stormwater runoff, so reduces pollutants entering water bodies. Any place that we have the possibility of interaction with feces, we've got potential to have E. coli there. And in our water quality stuff, we use E. coli as pretty much a cheap way to say that we may have other pathogen problems associated with that water. So, rainwater is superior in quality, hardness, zero hardness, sodium-free, and their neutral pH. Neither acidic nor basic. When properly managed, eliminates the need for costly treatments and distribution system. And certainly we know that our tanks are pricey, but once we get them paid for, then apart from the cost to collect, store, treat, convey the water into the facility, certainly it's not as costly. And how many places are we going currently that they say a developer has developed a certain area and not pointing to anything here locally, okay? But I know west of Fort Worth, out past Colapinto and in that area, I know at Boerne, there's developments going on that don't have groundwater underneath them, okay? So this may look like a real advantage. And as the cowboy that put in the rainwater harvesting system on my recommendation said, though, we gotta have the rain. may need to be supplemented with water from other sources periodically, okay? System requires regular maintenance after installation. Storage system can take up space around the house or in the backyard and have more of a footprint than what we really want to have. Standardized construction guidelines for systems are lacking, but make sure, can I borrow your blue book right there, please, sir? Thank you. I brought enough for everyone to get one of these. We sell these in the bookstore for $50. Okay? I take 50. 25. But y'all can have it for free. Okay? So be sure to get one. So we continue to encourage rainwater harvesting. And as you can see, at several different levels, one of which is this tax form. And you may want to get a picture of that URL to take advantage of that tax form. One of the neatest things that I've got going on is the Groundwater Conservation District. We're providing education for rainwater harvesting, and then the Groundwater Conservation District's paying $5,000 per person as long as you live within their documented area. They're paying $5,000 towards implementing these systems. Unfortunately, every place in Texas, including Kendall County, does not do that right now. But there's lots of excitement about rainwater harvesting across Texas. Also, the good old days, look at the infiltration rate on your left compared to today. And we said concrete, if a little concrete is good, we'll just put concrete everywhere, right? So what are we doing now? We're moving forward with trying to increase the infiltration through rain gardens, okay? Or what is a rain garden? Basically, what we're trying to do is hold the water 24 hours so that it can infiltrate, okay? And you get into your karst formations like we have here in Kendall County, and it serves us well. Also, we put in a demonstration of this infiltration system, and you can see that the yellow plastic does not have a bottom in it, okay? And basically, the same idea, you can see the upper left, the erosion caused by the downspout where the water was concentrated. And if we can hold that water in that infiltration system for 24 hours, then maybe we could get an increased infiltration. Those pictures of that's $1 a piece. I just joke. Lots of ways to do good things and provide beauty in there. Some of you may be familiar with, this is on Beltway 8, and we've got permeable pavement. What did he say? Permeable pavement, okay? And we're trying to increase infiltration. So, let's get down to it. Each square foot of collection surface footprint generates 0.6 gallons of water. So if I have 2,000 square foot of collection surface, a roof or whatever that structure might be, then that could generate 1,200 gallons from only 1 inch of rainfall. Okay? Here lately, we felt like that's all the rainfall was going to get was 1 inch, maybe. But, so looking at here in Kendall County, then average annual rainfall is about 35 inches. But big thing that we need to match up is not annual rainfall, but when do we get when's the highest probability for us to get a division of that total, okay? So if you look, this is a 77-year average of monthly rainfall. Because what are we trying to do? Basically, we need to match when we're going to get the rainfall, and Ryan's going to give you insight on how to do that, okay? We want to match that with when we're going to use it. And he was talking about some of his yard work and lawns, and I noticed there's several master gardeners in here. You guys need to help get this message out, okay? So, monthly rainfall, I left an extra slide in there, that's all right. So we've got our monthly rainfall up here on the left, and we've got our 2,000 foot catchment that we just reached up and pulled out, okay? And multiply that times the 0.6 to get how much we're going to get per month in gallons. Why is it in red? If we say we're using this for landscaping, then there's a good probability the months of November, December, January, February, and March, we may not need that water. Is that right? Here, Master Gardeners? Okay. So maybe we could stockpile that water and have that going into the months of April, May, June. And have additional water. What if also we say, well, that's kind of a hard way to do it. So let's go back and look. What if we multiplied the average monthly rainfall times your 0.6 and got the number of gallons per square foot? Then we can measure our square footage and multiply it times that, this number, right? Make sense to everybody? Okay. So if you're interested in additional calculations in this area, you can go on these two URLs and find that. Good or bad?
Not good.
Not good?
Not good.
You sure?
Well, I mean, no, roof is good, but all farm all that.
Okay, guys, let's talk about that a little bit. Where are we using this?
Oh, yeah,
water?
it's on water.
It's great, it's fertilizer.
I don't want to drink it, but
Once
I'll
you
put it on
get
my garden.
on one side of the fence or the other,
I like in the middle. I like being in the middle.
do you? Okay.
I like very good.
So, had knee replacement surgery, okay? And I
worth
didn't know I had a knee problem until I went to the doctor, and he said, oh, it's bone on bone. Oh, I'm gonna die. I think I'm gonna die. And I've been sore ever since. So, similar aquifer at Boerne. Our nitrate nitrogen level is our concern about nitrogen, okay? Well, that's what those birds are gonna produce, okay? Native level of the Seymour aquifer at Vernon is 14. 10 is where it becomes, 10 is the threshold level where it becomes problematic, okay? So, we told the farmers in Vernon, hey, did you realize that if you're using Seymour aquifer water, which might be similar to this, you cannot put one nitrogen application on your crop, good or bad? Okay? That was pretty exciting. Okay? So, this slide is saying match water quality with water application. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's what we're doing here. Also, the big thing is that we want to keep all of the debris or any kind of problems out of our tank. Because it's gonna, how many of you use drip emitters? If you get a drip emitter that has some kind of clog in it, you ain't got to say that word, but do you still call it a drip emitter or you call it rascal? Okay? So we want to keep everything that we possibly can from getting into the tank or moving down into the system. Also, questions about rainwater harvesting systems, okay? Have we got local ordinances or subdivision restrictions or what is there in this area specific to me that I need to check out, okay? And that's easily enough done. How much water can I catch from my roof? Estimated cost of the tanks. Is our tanks a lot guy in here? Okay, thank you for being with me. Apologize that I didn't get back with you.
Don't worry.
We're really glad that you're here and I'll give you a chance to kind of just invite folks. Can I afford a tank? Y'all's tanks are not expensive though.
The best deal is about 85 cents for the poly tanks per gallon. And then our Pioneer tanks range from about $1.50 to 68 cents per gallon capacity.
And what's the difference?
A poly
We
tank,
know what the poly tank looks like.
right, the
What's
Pioneer tank looks
tank
more
look
like this one, except it's only 7'2" tall.
Okay,
And they get really wide.
okay. How many gallons?
Ranging from 3,000 all the way to 50,000.
$1.50? Is that what you said?
Well, it depends. The smaller ones are more per price per gallon,
Okay.
about $1.50, yeah. And then
Cool.
the larger tanks end up being about 68 cents
Great.
per gallon.
And the money stays locally?
Oh, yeah.
There you
Oh,
go.
yeah.
Okay.
Family-owned business, thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody else is welcome to give their pitch if they're in the business. This is what we're talking about, okay, is galvanized on the right and the black poly tank on the left. I'm really proud of the flanging. Okay, so we've got, this is a really good demonstration we've got the galvaloon, which is kind of the gold standard of catchments, and the gutter is galvaloon, downspout, but then that downspout is going into a PVC pipe. And doesn't the galvaloon, the flange around that look a whole lot better to me than does the PVC pipe? Okay? And I'll show you how we can make that black poly tank look better. The steel reinforced concrete on both tanks is kind of also our gold standard of foundation. Here's a list of the components that we're gonna go over in home use. We'll touch on briefly. Site selection. If I'm gonna have to trench, level, or dig in Boerne, Texas, I think I missed my disclaimer, okay? Before we do anything, two things. We need to think through and make sure that it is the wisest way to do it, okay? And hopefully that's the easiest way to do it. And the third thing is most cost-effective way to do it.
Call a locator.
Sir?
Call a locator.
Call your locator. There you go. Thank you.
It's my pleasure.
Said what? Do y'all know what call your locator? If you hit your electric line or your water line or your gas line, you will not call your locator. Okay? Because they will come out. What is the number?
1-800-DIG. D-I-G-G.
811.
Dig good.
1-800-DIG.
Good. Dig good.
Dig
Two
good.
G's. 2 G's. Dig good.
Elevation, Willie gravity flow. Use a pumped storage tank. Distance tank will be from the house. Distance to electricity filter freeze protection. Size tank, how much weight do I want to put right up next to my foundation? Okay? Things to think about. Smaller size tank, I probably could install it myself. Type of foundation under the tank, consider size. Underground or larger or specially designed tanks may require excavation or a professional. Cool. Had breakfast with this guy yesterday morning. So we've got the galvaloon roof, real good choice. We've got the gutter, we've got the conveyance, and the smaller barn on the right is the house is what he stores his black poly tank in. Okay? So it's pretty cool looking there. What would we like to change about that? We'd really not like to have the tree overhead. That's pretty straightforward. Cool. Pretty building, but it'd sure be hard to put conveyance and guttering surrounding that. How many of you know Stephen's Elder? Okay. This is Stephen's house, okay? Be sure to talk to him about it, okay? And tell him that him not being here, that guy was really hard on you, okay? No, seriously, in Scotland and Europe, they're doing a lot of this green roof, okay? And basically, it's a cheap way to make the house more thermo efficient and temperature control. This is basically what we're talking about today. It's straightforward. The trees don't come into play. And I would ask you guys, what is the dirtiest water that comes off that roof? Hold that thought. So why have we got, it's kind of interesting, we've got this little short pipe right here. Why do we have that before it goes into the tank? Kind of interesting.
Runoff.
Cleans the gutters.
It's a runoff.
Now, if you miss these questions, it costs you $1. Okay? So, root collection, no, I'm just joking. Thank y'all for participating. So, roof and collection surface, metal is preferred unless painted. And if you paint it, then NSF 61 paint should be used. What's NSF? It is a national plumbing components foundation that tests plumbing products to make sure that what they are claiming is worthy. So NSF 61 paint and wood shingles, soil water, and may stay moist should not be a problem for us if we're using it for landscaping though. Okay? Lots of things that we can make these roofs out of, and lead or asbestos, hopefully we don't run into that. If we do, then I would probably recommend getting a water test and talking to some of our horticultural folks about impact on any kind of vegetables that we might be eating. Catchment surface. This is a PVC roof, something we don't come in contact with very often, but a really, really outstanding catchment possibility. Earth to Mars. Okay. There again, this got to be Zeller's backyard, right? Okay, he should have been here. So, wouldn't this get them to talking? Still, at the same time, it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool catchment that they have developed there. Okay? And they've got the dishes there, but then they've got that vertical garden and have everything where it's probably self-contained and got drip emitters. So, what are y'all called, Texans? We need to think outside the box, guys, and figure this out to where we cheapen up on the tank prices. Wildlife structure in that last slide there. Which one would be the largest footprint? Well, they're all three the same, okay? Which would be the easiest to put conveyance around guttering on? The two outside ones? Okay? Where would you put the tank? In the center, right in front of the door? Maybe on the other end? Okay, so if the water comes off of our catchment and goes straight into the tank and doesn't go underground, then we call that a dry system. If it goes underground, it might have a tendency to stay there for an extended period, then we call that a wet system. And the roof side of that needs to be put to 1.5 feet higher than where it's going into the tank to maintain our gravity flow on that. So, question earlier is, what's the dirtiest water coming off the roof? The first water, right? So what if we caught it out separate, like on the right there where the PVC is darkened, and put it into a separate area with the discharge on it. We could call that a first flush diverter, okay, before it goes into the tank. And notice that it's got a hose bib as well as a plug in it. Different examples that we've put in, upper left is LaGrange. We put two 5,000-gallon tanks on each end of the courthouse. The Parker County upper right, and notice how small the roof washer is on that particular, okay? We haven't got to put a roof washer on all of these structures. If we don't have trees overhead, then we may be just fine with no roof washer. Bottom left-hand corner of where the pump is, I don't like that, okay? Why is that? Well, two things. It's susceptible for freeze damage. So if we buried it like that box was designed, then also we could put an on-demand pump and carry that pump in and out of the house, and freeze damage wouldn't impact it, nor would vandalism. And we've started doing that on school demonstrations, installation. Bottom right is a wet system that we put in on a carport out at Menard. Problems do occur. Good. I don't think that they were amused with it. I may have to replay this. But I talked to 500 kids at A&M, 250 in each class. And I told them as I go around Texas, my favorite thing to tell them that all first-year water students need to know is that the number one rule in water is it runs downhill. See, and I got a good chuckle out of that. And they didn't think it was funny at all. So still, a surveyor's level is real easy to learn to use, okay? And I think this installation of a deer, what we did is we went to South Texas and built the structure where they didn't have alternative water for a mile around it. And basically, you can look at how level that root on both of them, they're different locations. But you can see that these posts are all different lengths. Okay, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Straightforward. Think outside the box. Foxy redhead I'm married to, okay? She's got really good taste, by the way. Somebody got it, okay? So, oh wow. Wouldn't it be fun to be in New Mexico and it not rain for 6 months and be there in the day and listen to the water run through those water chains? Beautiful. What's the problem here? Our trees overhead again. Sizing, gutters should be sized to adequately move rainwater runoff for 100-year storm. Generally should be at least 5 inches wide. 100-year storm was not necessarily when you got the most rain. Okay? think through. What we're trying to say is when you got the most rain in 5 minutes, okay? The intensity is what we're talking about. And in the back, there again, in the back of this blue book that I was showing you earlier is some really cool charts that have all this information. Downspouts, 1 square inch downspout area, 100 square foot of roof area. Okay, 2 by 3 would be 6 square inch, 600 square foot of roof area. 3 by 4 would be 12 square inches, 1,200 square foot. Same rule applies to circular PVC. Lots of things we can make gutters out of. There again, the Uniform Plumbing Code information is in the back of the blue book. As I said, lots of materials to make gutters out of. Obviously, it needs a small slope. And water is heavy, 8.3 pounds per gallon. So we need to make sure that it's well reinforced, and we may have to have expansion joints for when it's 110 degrees. May have to put a splash guard in special places. One per 1,000 square feet is the amount of downspouts, and 1 square inch of outlet per 100 square foot of roof, as was previously saying. One of my favorite pictures in the entire presentation, when do we decide that we want rainwater harvesting? Okay? Retrofit, right? So how fun would it be to come off of that building on the left down to concrete, carry it down the sidewalk, and put it back up in the building, and it'd be attractive? Okay, probably not going to happen. Look at what they did. They put this oversized gutter in there, well reinforced, and straight into the tank. No roof washer on this installation. So the two on the right, if we've got all that weight and we want to make sure that we don't back water up, then these on the right, and y'all got this, all this type of stuff that y'all store, right?
Yes.
Okay. So here is holding the water in the channel on the left side there. Splash guard. Probably should have done a better job of trimming the trees, huh? Good notice. Yeah. Good job. That's kind of different. Which one do you like best? The painted or the flange? So in 2006, we first started doing Rainwater Harvesting Task Force was established in 2006 by Texas AgriLife Extension Service. Basically, Dripping Springs, as I understand it, had 150 houses that didn't have water. And the county judge asked our county agent at the time if he could help him with the problem. And so we started doing rainwater harvesting education at that time. Oh, that's kind of cool. What do you like the best?
I like that because the water goes all the way across the roof without creating an island.
All right. if you approach this like, I'm gonna put a system in, okay? Then what if this would be what you want your system to look like? Cool? Now, 5,000 gallon tank we put in at the World Birding Center. I designed that for them. Cool. This is down in Angleton. Went through Hurricane Ike and Harvey. The center is the oldest rainwater harvesting system that I could find at A&M on the old cotton lab. Our water there in College Station is about 450 to 500 parts per million TDS. 500 is where water tastes soft. So they were collecting water off of the lab there and the greenhouses, and then watering the little cotton seedlings with this high quality water. The bottom left is guttering, that is the 10-foot sections that you can buy at the box store. Put rivet through the top of this, and then did an extremely good job of reinforcing it so the weight of the water didn't break it off. Well-designed conveyance at the turf lab there in College Station. This is where your bottom right is where your soil samples will go, and you can see a really nice seamless gutter there on it. That's really pretty. What's the problem? Think outside the box. Now the hoop houses provide the catchment, and it goes down to the black poly, goes to the other end by gravity flow, and where you see the hose there on the right is where they put a pump to pump it out into the where the crop is. Think outside the box. So, you guys here in Boerne, probably very similar to the way that we did things in Dripping Springs. And obviously, I'm from College Station, same thing. But man, we love our deer, okay? And love our wildlife. Pretty cool. All of it needs water. No water will draw it. When we use different materials to put this stuff together, the wisest thing that you can do is use like with like. So if you start PVC, use PVC. If you use metal, stay with metal. Brass, same thing. If you choose to use Teflon tape, then you go the same direction as the external thread so that it tightens those down on the threads rather than bunches up and causes a problem. Never use gray pipe to carry water, never use white pipe to carry electricity. Always use purple pipe for non-potable water. As we make Schedule 40, our PVC pipe stronger, essentially what we're doing is decreasing the size of the orifice in the center. Want to do a really good job of square cuts and cleaning any kind of burr that might be on where we cut PVC. Do a good job of cleaning everything off before we put the primer on and let it dry and then put the cement. And guys, it's really important that we use the right primer and cement that goes with the PVC that we choose to use, okay? And I know that I prefer to use a general purpose PVC and primer and cement. And then we want to push it together and turn it a quarter of a turn and hold it for a period of time so it doesn't pop. It has a natural pressure that builds up. Oh, that's pretty. Where's the tank? Oh, there it is. Hey man, it's underneath. Cool. Lots of different filtration ways to filtrate this stuff. I've got a demonstration of what we call a leaf feeder. And basically it's got another screen, finer screen, meshed screen in the inside of it. And if you look, what they're doing is keeping leaves primarily. But I'll put it down where you can look at it when we break. Lots of ways to do this, okay? One of the biggest problems and concerns that we've had was switching from galvalume gutters, downspouts, to PVC. And so we worked with John Deere and some of our landscaping folks to help create some things that have been, and y'all done the same thing.
Yes.
Don't make you talk about it. You're not shaking your head yes.
Oh, yes.
So, if we've got this turbulent rain coming down, then our first flush diverter is going to fill up. And if we put a floating ball inside of that, then what research showed us is it can float up and seal this off after it's rained for a while, and that water doesn't keep this turbulence boiling in here and going into the tank. And so this prevents some of the contaminants from going straight into the tank. So it's a good thought. That's at Edinburgh. We put a demonstration in with the root washer. This is commercially available online and has the leaf feeder on it, floating ball, and this tank doesn't really have a large footprint. Now that's going to be a $3 picture. How much do I divert? Okay? 1, 2, 3 gallons per 100 square foot. And if I have low contamination above my roof, then, like I said, we may not have to put a roof washer on it. But here is the capacity of a 4-inch for 1 foot will hold 7/10 of a gallon of water. Commercially available. Oh, wow. That's cool. Lots of different foundations that we can choose to use. Sand, gravel, store-bought framework, hay-dyed blocks, okay? Steel reinforced concrete kind of takes the prize. And if I've got to level it, then I want to make sure that there's nothing that would puncture the tank. How are we going to do this? What's it going to require for us to get it done? Watershed, we talked about it. Cool. So elevating the tank is going to create additional water pressure for us. Still, I don't think that I'm going to wear these benches out underneath that tank. Different load-bearing capacities of different soil types. And remember that there's still reinforced concrete is our gold standard. Lots of different tanks available. This is our Pioneer tank that we were talking about, okay? If I'm going to bury a tank, then I want to make sure that the openings are not susceptible if it flooded where the tank is buried. When we did 1,500 private water well samples during Hurricane Harvey, and normally our hit rate on E. coli is about 5%. If a well was flooded, the water got into that well, then it was closer to 20% hits on E. coli. So we want to make sure animals and kids can't get in there. Another thing is that across much of Texas, we have a vertical clay, and that clay will rip those things apart if we don't encapsulate it, surround it with sand or something besides that clay. Lots of prices available, okay? And tanks a lot. They're giving away tanks over there. Just so, now I feel real bad because what that's going to do is get you to bring one of your small tanks, okay, and get it away as a door prize. Okay, we got everybody's address.
I'll help them go get it.
There you go. Absolutely. Filling tanks came to us because of the fact of war over in the desert. And these tanks here don't have a real large footprint. Lots of different shapes and sizes available. Cool. So here we've got cedar pickets surrounding that black poly tank. And really do like this. Cool. Where's the tank? Oh, there it is. Underneath the porch. Cool. Oh man, I like that. That's what y'all need to get where you construct. Okay? Cool. This is the cedar pickets we put around the Angleton tank. Basically, all we did was squared this with 2x4 that was level on top, all the way around, and then put rebar and tied it off and put the little stands underneath the rebar, and then put Sacred in there. Added water, made sure we put our anchor bolts in there before it dried. Cool. Make them dance floor. Oh, wow. Across the hill country, we see a lot of these tanks available are in use. Are steel reinforced concrete tanks. So I added this to the presentation. My daddy is a graduate of Lomita High School. And best that I can figure, I took this about 2 years ago out on the old home place, my granddad's old place, and the woman was bragging about living there since the 80s. She didn't know who I was, and I'm like, really? Kind of a newbie, aren't you? And thought that, didn't say. But this is not for rainwater harvesting. This is just stock water tank. But it's an example of doing steel reinforced concrete correctly. Okay? Because it's been there for a long time and still in use. Oh, wow. That's pretty cool. No, seriously? Wow. 1,400 gallons. They won't get help on that. So I don't think that the Foxy Redhead wants the black poly tank right up on the front door of that house. Probably not. Okay? Oh, wow. Okay, so see, they are encapsulating, preparing to encapsulate to keep the clay from tearing that tank apart. Cool. So you got to start someplace. Okay? You guys are wondering what my tank looks like? No, that is not my tank. But it's functional, isn't it?
That's my place.
Gateway drug to rainwater harvesting. There you go. So you can go to this URL right here, and we've got this publication for you. And when you start thinking about one rain barrel, why not 10? Okay? You can hook them together. Certainly gives you more storage. Oh, wow, those are cool. Oh, I've seen one of those. Wow. Run backs. The Aggies did not use a nail gun to put the... We didn't. Dang, you hush.
Well, not the first time, though. I mean, the second time. The first time.
A lot of this you can find online if that's the way you choose to do it, but we got people spending money right here to keep it right here in town. So this is the horticulture lab down in the Brazos Bottom. We asked them to move their greenhouses. We've got over 70,000 kids there on campus, and what they did was bought these 4 Pioneer tanks that are shown here. Basically, they're catching water off the greenhouse into the tanks and then watering their little seedling, whatever, plants with that. So, want to make sure and identify everything. There again, they're pumping, using solar panel to pump the water up to gain the water pressure. Steel reinforced concrete as base foundation, and the piping coming out of the tank overflow is the same, the piping coming into the tank. And you can see galvalume, catchment structure, and conveyance, just a well-designed tank. Want to make sure and keep animals out. July and August, it's a real problem for us. How much water is in the tank? If I use a sight glass, then it may be susceptible to freeze damage. Okay? If I cover it up, then I don't know how much water is in there. So I want to make sure that we do a good job of freeze protection on this guy. Clear purple piping for non-potable water. This has got a float inside of it. Works really well. And then this is one that I found online and at one of the box stores, so I'm sure many of them have it. This was particular was at Walmart.
Can you go back to a couple of them, because I don't see that.
Woo!
Hey, you're the one.
$2
That's
a
pretty
size.
costly.
You haven't got the image in this.
I had
Oh, where you had the float.
here.
Yeah, I'll give it to you. Because you didn't have the float there. I'll take a picture of it real quick.
Huh? How'd that happen?
I don't know. Maybe it ain't.
Must be what?
Nothing. Like cost me more, because my sister.
There you go.
Is there any way you do that? Good one. Nothing, you
I think I'm going the wrong way
I think you
somehow.
are too. There you go, that's the one
Yes.
that we don't have. Thank you, sir, I appreciate that.
Well, what have we got?
Well, you go from this to this to this, and I don't see that.
Okay.
Then you
There it
go
is.
So, that's that,
No, that's that.
that's that.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't feel so bad.
I appreciate
Yes, sir. I don't know that I can do that in copy. I might just have to confess sin
I got a picture of it.
when I get to that side.
I'll tell you what, I'll see you Monday.
Okay, so, in-home use, guys, okay? Today's presentation doesn't provide you enough information to be safe. But if you'll go online, then TCEQ has a publication for in-home use of rainwater harvest. Basically, what is recommended is to go from a 50 micron to a 5 micron filter and then a UV lamp. And that's basically what this is. We've got 2 filters on this one, 2 5 micron filters, and it goes through this UV lamp. And basically what we're trying to do is get particle size of any kind of debris or anything where E. coli or contaminant can't hide behind that. Also, I've got some mosquito, I've got some screens here, but I don't think that mesh is small enough for those to prevent mosquitoes from getting in there. So what you may have to do is use mosquito dunks. Lots of different pumps available. Here's our on-demand portable pump that we was talking about. And if we had all the hoses and the electrical source buried in that box that I was harsh about, then we could take this on-demand pump out there and deal with it. Submersible pump, pressure tank pump. Basically what it has is pressure gauge on it that tells the pump we need more water and pressure in the tank, and it kicks the pump on. Lots of pumps available. Obviously some work better than others. Here's that in-home use from TCEQ. My mentor is Billy Benford, that's out at Menard.
Yeah, I know
Love
him.
this guy. And so I always used to money then.
That's where my place is at. I know Billy is.
Love him and Mary. And they can live on about 5 inches of rainfall a year with their rainwater harvesting system. If you decide I've just got to have water treatment, then TCEQ also licensed water treatment specialists. Basically, they provide the information and testing, and then you can find those guys on their website. Also, we've got water quality for private water well owners. Work with Ryan and his group to provide this water well program, along with a large number of fact sheets that are available at this website. Okay, and these are water quality fact sheets. And we continue to try to update and make them the most relevant that they can be. Want to make sure and winterize, keep this from freezing on all of our conveyance. Your tank should be fine. This list of resources that are available. Also remember, guys, that I work with the greatest people in the world. They're called Texans. So if I can be of any assistance, whatever you do, you make sure that you select the correct tools. Whether it's putting in a rainwater harvesting system or it's eating cereal.